My name is Enola Morrison, and I am 28 years old. On my 18th birthday, while I was gasping for air during an asthma attack, my sister looked my mother straight in the eyes and said that I had stolen $3,200 from her college fund to buy my medication. My mother, a nurse who had spent 25 years caring for strangers, didn't even check my room, didn't ask a single question. She just pointed at the door and said, "You've been draining this family for 18 years. Every hospital bill, every inhaler, every ambulance ride, it was all for you. And now you steal your sister's future? You're not sick, you're selfish. Get out." It was February 3rd, 11:47 p.m. The snow was falling so heavily I couldn't see more than 3 feet ahead. The temperature was 6 degrees Fahrenheit. I collapsed 4 blocks from my house. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I remember thinking, so this is how I'm going to die. But I didn't die. Dr. Catherine Brennan, the director of emergency medicine at a major hospital in Boston, found me unconscious on the side of the road and saved my life. 10 years later, I stood on a stage in front of 1,200 people. My mother was sitting in the third row. My sister was working the event, completely unaware that I would be there. And when the announcer called my name, when that number appeared on the screen behind me, my sister's entire body began to shake so violently that she dropped her clipboard. Because finally, she understood what that number truly meant. But to understand why that number made her shake, why my mother's face went pale, why everything they believed about me shattered in that single moment, I need to take you back. Back to when I was 6 years old. I was 6 when the asthma started. We were at recess, Lincoln Elementary School, Boston. It was a Tuesday, 2:15 in the afternoon. I remember because we were playing tag and I was laughing so hard I couldn't catch my breath. Except, I really couldn't catch my breath. My chest felt tight. My throat closed up. I fell to my knees on the playground, gasping, clawing at my neck like I could pull the air in with my hands. The school nurse called my mother. My mother, Patricia Morrison, was a registered nurse at Boston Medical Center. She'd worked there for 11 years at that point. She knew exactly what was happening the moment she walked into that nurse's office and saw me struggling to breathe. Acute asthma attack. We went straight to the emergency room at Massachusetts General Hospital. Nebulizer treatment, oxygen, monitoring. The whole thing cost $890 after insurance. I remember the ride home. My mother didn't say anything. She just gripped the steering wheel, jaw tight, eyes forward. When we got home, my father, Michael Morrison, was making dinner, spaghetti. My sister Vivienne, who was 4 at the time, was coloring at the kitchen table. My mother set her purse down. She looked at my father and said, "Do you know how much her medications are going to cost? $240 a month. Vivienne doesn't cost us a dime, but Enola is expensive." I was 6. I didn't know what expensive meant yet, but I learned fast. By the time I was 13, I'd learned that every time I had an asthma attack, I was taking something away from Vivienne. It was April 18th, 2015. Vivienne had a piano recital that night, Jordan Hall in Boston. She'd been practicing for 3 months. 3 months of scales and Chopin and my mother sitting beside her on the piano bench, beaming. I was at school that day, 7th grade, when it happened. Gym class. We were running laps. I made it halfway around the track before my chest seized up. I dropped to my knees, wheezing, vision going spotty at the edges. The gym teacher called my mother. She had to leave work early. Again, she had to pick me up. Again, and she had to miss the first 20 minutes of Vivienne's recital because she was sitting in the school nurse's office with me while I used my inhaler and tried not to cry. When we finally got to Jordan Hall, we were late. We missed Vivian's first piece entirely. Vivian was 11. She was beautiful. Long dark hair, pale skin, delicate hands that moved across the keys like water. She played Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major for 250 people, and they all clapped, and my mother cried happy tears. On the drive home, Vivian sat in the back seat next to me. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then quietly, so quietly I almost didn't hear it, she said, "You ruined my night." My mother glanced in the rearview mirror. She didn't tell Vivian to stop. She didn't say, "That's not fair," or "Your sister couldn't help it." She just kept driving. And Vivian said, louder this time, tears streaming down her face, "I practiced for 3 months. 3 months. And she couldn't even try to breathe normally for one night?" My father, in the passenger seat, finally spoke. "Vivian, that's enough." But my mother said nothing. And I realized, sitting there in the back seat, trying to make myself as small as possible, my sickness wasn't just mine. It was my sin. When I turned 16, I didn't have a party. Vivian's 16th birthday had been 7 months earlier, September 24th, 2018. My parents rented out a private room at Legal Seafoods on the waterfront. 25 of her friends, lobster, steak, champagne glasses filled with sparkling cider, a cake that cost $180. The total bill was $1,200. My mother posted photos on Facebook. "Our beautiful Vivian is 16. So proud of this girl." My 16th birthday was February 3rd, 2019. We had pizza at home, Domino's. $28 for 2 large pizzas. 4 people, no friends, no party. My mother said, "We have to be realistic, Enola. We spent $450 on your emergency room visit last month. We can't afford 2 big parties." I nodded. I smiled. I said, "I understand." But that night, after everyone went to bed, I heard my parents arguing in their bedroom. Their voices carried through the walls. My father, "Patricia, she just turned 16. Can't we at least take her out to dinner?" My mother, "We spent $450 on her ER visit last month." $450, Michael. Vivian hasn't seen a doctor in 3 years. 3 years. Don't talk to me about fair. My father went quiet, and I lay in my bed, staring at the ceiling, doing the math. Vivian's party, $1,200. My pizza, $28. The difference, $1,172. I started keeping score that night. When I was 17, my parents sat me down to talk about college. It was November, late evening. We were in the living room. My father had a folder in his hands. Financial documents, bank statements, college savings accounts. He opened the folder. "Vivian," he said, "has $18,000 saved for college. We've been contributing since she was born." He paused. "Enola," he said, slower now, "you have $6,500. I blinked. "Why?" My mother answered. "Medical expenses we didn't anticipate. Your asthma has cost us significantly more than we budgeted for." The difference was $11,500. $11,500 that went to keeping me alive. My mother continued. "Vivian has straight A's and perfect health. Colleges will want her. She'll likely get scholarships. You, Enola, you'll need to work harder. You might need to work for a year before college, or apply for more financial aid. That's just reality." I worked harder. I graduated with straight A's too. 3.98 GPA, National Honor Society. Volunteer work at the hospital. Everything. But it never mattered, because I was expensive. In January of my senior year, I applied for a scholarship. The Future Medical Professionals Fund was a local Boston area scholarship for students planning to pursue healthcare careers. The prize was $3,200. I wrote my essay on January 15th, 2015. The topic was, describe a personal health challenge and how it inspired your career goals. I wrote about my asthma, about growing up watching nurses and doctors save my life over and over, about wanting to be the person who made sick kids feel like they weren't a burden. I submitted it at 11:43 p.m. that night. Results were announced on February 12th, my 18th birthday. The email came at 9:22 a.m. Dear Ms. Morrison, congratulations! You have been selected as the recipient of the Future Medical Professionals Scholarship, $3,200. Your essay moved our committee deeply. We wish you the best in your medical career, I screamed. I ran downstairs, phone in hand, and found my mother in the kitchen making coffee. Mom! Mom, I got it. I got the scholarship. She looked up. Which scholarship? The medical one. $3,200. I can use it for Boston University. For a moment, just a moment, her face softened. She smiled. A real smile. That's wonderful, Enola. I'm proud of you. It was the first time she'd said that in years. I felt like I was floating. But then Vivian came downstairs. She was 15, still in her pajamas, hair messy from sleep. She looked at me, at my mother, at the phone in my hand. What's going on? My mother turned to her. Enola got a scholarship, $3,200. Vivian's smile faltered, just for a second, just long enough for me to notice. Oh, she said, that's great. But her voice was flat, and I saw something in her eyes that I'd never seen before. Not happiness, not pride, something cold. The night before my birthday, February 11th, we had dinner together. My mother had made steak, baked potatoes, green beans, a nice meal, which was rare. Early birthday dinner, she said, since tomorrow's a school day. We sat down at 7:15 p.m. Vivian sat across from me. She kept looking at me, then looking away, smiling these quick, tight smiles. So, my father said, cutting into his steak. Enola, have you heard back from BU yet? Not yet, I said. Should be soon, though. If I get in, the scholarship will cover almost a full semester. My mother nodded. That's the best we can hope for, given everything, given my medical costs. She didn't say it, but we all knew. Vivian pushed her green beans around her plate. What about you, Viv? My father asked. How's the college fund looking? Good, Vivian said quickly. Really good. I should have enough for a state school at least. My mother smiled at her. You'll probably get into BC, maybe even a scholarship, even a... Vivian smiled back. But when my mother looked away, Vivian's eyes slid to me, and she smiled. A different smile, sharp, and I thought, that's strange, but I ignored it. That was my first mistake. After dinner, I went upstairs to my room. I was exhausted. I had a calc test the next day, plus it was my birthday, and I just wanted to sleep. Around 9 p.m., there was a knock on my door. Yeah? Vivian opened the door. She was holding something. A book. Hey, she said, her voice soft, almost sad. Can I come in? Sure. She sat on the edge of my bed. She handed me the book. It was one I'd lent her weeks ago. The Fault in Our Stars. I finished it, she said. Did you like it? Yeah, it made me cry. We sat there in silence for a moment. Then Vivian said, so quietly I almost didn't hear, I'm sorry I've been distant lately. I looked at her, surprised. It's okay. No, it's not. Her voice cracked. You're my sister. I love you. She hugged me, and I hugged her back, and I felt warm, safe, like maybe things were getting better. I love you too, Viv. She pulled away, wiping her eyes. Happy birthday, Enola. Thanks. She left, and I lay down in bed, smiling. I should have asked why she was apologizing, but I didn't. That was my second mistake. But I didn't know that night. February 11th, 2015, 9:15 p.m. Lying in my bed feeling loved for the first time in years. It would get so much worse. I didn't know Vivian had been planning something, and I didn't know my mother would believe her without a single question. I woke up on February 12th, 2015 at 7 a.m. My alarm went off. I reached over, turned it off, and lay there for a moment. 18. I was 18, legally an adult. I got out of bed and went downstairs. The kitchen was empty. No balloons, no happy birthday sign, no one waiting to hug me. There was a note on the counter, next to the coffee pot. I picked it up. Enola, working early shift. Birthday dinner at 8 p.m. tonight. Don't be late. Mom. That was it. No happy birthday. No love, Mom. Just, don't be late. I made myself toast and went to school. School was fine. A few friends wished me happy birthday. I took my calc test. I passed. By 4:30 p.m. I was home. I went upstairs to change. As I walked past Vivian's room, her door was open. She was sitting on her bed and her eyes were red, like she'd been crying. Viv? I stopped in the doorway. Are you okay? She looked up, startled. Oh, yeah, I'm fine. You don't look fine. She wiped her eyes. Just stressed about a scholarship thing. It's stupid. Do you want to talk about it? She shook her head quickly. No, it's okay. I walked into her room and sat on the bed next to her. Hey, I said softly. We're sisters. You can tell me. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she smiled, that same sharp smile from last night. Thanks, Enola, but I'm okay, really. She hugged me, and when she pulled away, she said, I love you so much. I love you too. I left her room and went to mine. I should have asked why she was apologizing again, but I didn't. That was my third mistake. At 6:45 p.m., I was in my room doing homework when I heard it. A scream. Mom! My money is gone! I jumped. My pencil clattered to the floor. I ran into the hallway. My mother was running up the stairs. My father right behind her. We all rushed into Vivian's room. She was standing in the middle of the floor, holding a small metal lockbox. Her hands were shaking. The box was open. Inside, 3 $20 bills. $60. That was it. My mother grabbed the box. What do you mean, gone? Vivian's voice was high, panicked, tears streaming down her face. My money! I had $3,200 in here. I checked 3 days ago. It was all there. My mother's face went white. $3,200? Yes, from working, from birthday money, from everything I've saved for college, and now it's gone. My father stepped forward. Vivian, when was the last time you opened this box? Sunday, 3 days ago. I counted it. It was there. My mother looked around the room. Who has access to your room? Vivian hesitated. Then her eyes slid to me. She swallowed. I don't want to accuse anyone, but my stomach dropped. But what? My mother demanded. Enola came in here yesterday to return a book. Every head turned to me. Wait, I said, my voice shaking. I did return a book, but I didn't. My mother cut me off. Did you come into this room? Yes, but did you touch anything? No, I just gave her the book and... My mother's voice went cold. Enola, did you take your sister's money? The room tilted. What? No, no, why would I? Vivian sobbed. You got your scholarship yesterday, $3,200, and today my $3,200 is missing. That's not a coincidence. My mother stepped closer to me. Her face was hard, furious. Enola, look at me. I looked at her. Did you take your sister's money? No, Mom, I would never. Vivian's voice cracked. You always hated that I had more than you. You always said it wasn't fair. I never said that. You did, last year. When we were talking about college funds, you said it wasn't fair that I had more. I felt like the walls were closing in. That's not what I meant. My mother held up a hand. Silence. She turned to Vivian. Are you absolutely sure you had $3,200 in this box on Sunday? Yes. And Enola was the only person who came into your room since then? Vivian hesitated. Then, yes. My mother turned to me, and I saw it in her eyes. She'd already decided. We went downstairs, all four of us. My mother told me to sit on the couch. She stood in front of me, arms crossed. My father stood behind her, silent. Vivian sat on the chair across from me, crying. My mother spoke first. Enola, I'm going to give you one chance to tell the truth. Did you take Vivian's money? No. Do you have $3,200 in your room? No, Mom, I can show you my bank account. I don't have... You bought a new inhaler last week. I froze. What? You bought a new inhaler. $240. Where did you get that money? From my job. From working at the library. I've been working there since September. Prove it. I can show you my pay stubs. Show me. I ran upstairs. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely open my desk drawer. I grabbed the folder with my pay stubs, ran back downstairs. I handed it to my mother. She flipped through it. Her jaw tightened. These only show $150 a paycheck. Twice a month. That's $300 a month. And you're telling me you saved enough for a $240 inhaler and still have money left over? I've been saving. I barely spend anything. She threw the folder on the coffee table. You've been taking money from your sister for months, haven't you? No. And when you got that scholarship, you thought you were safe. You thought no one would notice. Mom, please, I didn't... She stepped closer. Her voice dropped, low, cold, shaking with rage. You know what you are, Enola? I couldn't speak. You've been bleeding this family dry for 18 years. Every hospital bill, every inhaler, every ambulance ride, it was all for you. We gave up vacations, we gave up savings, we gave up everything for you. Tears streamed down my face. And now you steal from your sister's future? For what? More medication? More treatment for a condition you should have learned to manage by now? I didn't take anything. Don't lie to me. She grabbed my arm and pulled me to my feet. You're not sick, Enola. You're selfish. She dragged me to the front door, opened it. Snow was falling outside, hard, thick. I couldn't see more than a few feet. Mom, get out! Mom, please, it's snowing. I don't have a child like you. Get out. If you come back, I'm calling the police. Do you understand me? I looked at my father. He was staring at the floor. Dad. He didn't look up. I looked at Vivian. She was crying into her hands. But when she thought no one was looking, when my mother's back was turned, I saw it. Just for a second. She looked at me, and she smiled. My mother shoved me outside. I stumbled onto the front porch. The door slammed behind me. I heard the lock click. I stood there, frozen, staring at the door. It was 8:42 p.m. February 12th, 2015. My 18th birthday. The temperature was 6 degrees Fahrenheit, and I had nowhere to go. The door slammed. The lock clicked, and I was alone in the snow. 18 years old, with nothing but the clothes on my back and an inhaler I'd supposedly stolen money to buy. I started walking. I didn't know where I was going. I just walked. My phone was at 11% battery. I didn't have a coat, just a hoodie. My hands were already numb. The snow was coming down so hard I could barely see. The streetlights looked like blurry halos in the white. I walked to the Starbucks on Coolidge Corner, 1.2 miles from my house. I got there at 9:15 p.m. The sign on the door said, "Closed at 9 p.m." I stood outside, shivering, staring at the dark windows. I tried calling my best friend, Jessica. No answer. I tried calling another friend, Amir, straight to voicemail. It was a Friday night. Everyone was out. Everyone was at parties, at movies, living their lives. No one was answering their phone for the girl who'd just been kicked out of her house. I walked to the McDonald's on Harvard Street. It was open 24 hours. I went inside. The fluorescent lights were painfully bright. The smell of French fries made my stomach ache. I sat in a booth in the corner and tried to get warm. A security guard came over after 20 minutes. "You buying anything?" I don't have money." "Then you can't stay here." "Please, it's freezing outside." "Not my problem. Out." I left. My phone was at 8%. I walked to Back Bay Station. It was the only place I could think of that might be warm and open. I got there at 10:20 p.m. There were a few people inside, mostly homeless people huddled on benches trying to sleep. A man with a long beard and a torn coat looked at me. "You okay, kid?" "I'm fine." "You don't look fine." I sat down on a bench and pulled my knees to my chest. The man stood up and walked over. He pulled off his jacket, a dirty, stained jacket that smelled like sweat and cigarettes, and handed it to me. "Here." "I can't." "Take it. You're shivering." I took it, and I started crying. "Thank you." He nodded and walked away. I sat there for 2 hours, wearing a stranger's jacket, trying not to fall apart. At 11:55 p.m., a police officer came through, checking IDs. When he got to me, he looked at my face. "How old are you?" 18. "You have somewhere to go?" I hesitated. If I said no, what would happen? Would they call my parents? Would they take me to a shelter? "Yes," I lied. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he said quietly, "There's a shelter on Albany Street. It's 1.8 miles from here. They take walk-ins until 1 a.m. You should go." "Okay." He walked away. I looked at my phone. 5% battery. 1.8 miles. I could make that. I had to. I started walking at 12:10 a.m. The snow had slowed down a little, but the temperature had dropped. The wind cut through the jacket, through my hoodie, through my skin. I made it 6 blocks before I felt it. My chest tightened. No, not now. Please, not now. But my body didn't care. I stopped walking, leaned against a brick wall, pulled out my inhaler. 2 puffs. I waited. The tightness didn't go away. I took 2 more puffs. Still nothing. Panic set in. Stress was a trigger. Cold was a trigger. And I was buried in both. I tried to keep walking, but my legs felt weak. My vision was getting blurry. I made it 2 more blocks. And then I couldn't anymore. I collapsed. I remember lying on the sidewalk, Boylston Street, near the Prudential Center. There was no one around. It was too late, too cold, too dangerous. Just me and the snow. I couldn't feel my hands anymore, couldn't feel my feet. My chest was on fire, but the rest of me was ice. I thought about my mother's face, the way she looked at me, like I was nothing. I thought about Vivian's smile, that cold, sharp smile, and I thought, maybe they're right. Maybe I am too expensive. Maybe the world would be better if I just stopped. Stopped breathing. Stopped costing people money. Stopped being a burden. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just tired. So tired. I closed my eyes, and I thought, so this is how I'm going to die. I don't know how long I was lying there. It could have been 5 minutes. It could have been an hour. But at some point, I heard a voice. Oh my God! Footsteps. Running. Hands on my shoulders, shaking me. Hey! Hey! Can you hear me? I tried to open my eyes. Couldn't. Stay with me. What's your name? I tried to speak. My lips wouldn't move. Okay. Okay. I'm calling 911. I heard her voice, urgent, speaking into a phone. Yes, I found someone on Boylston Street near Prudential. Young woman, maybe 18, unresponsive. She's freezing. I think she's hypothermic. Please hurry. She took off her coat and put it over me. Then she said something I'll never forget. You're going to be okay. Do you hear me? You're going to be okay. I'm a doctor. I've got you. And for the first time in my life, I believed someone. I thought that was the end. I didn't know it was the beginning of something I never imagined. Because Dr. Catherine Brennan didn't just save my life that night. She asked me one question in the ER while I was hooked up to oxygen that changed everything. I woke up in a hospital room, bright lights, beeping machines, the smell of antiseptic. A nurse was checking my IV. Oh, good. You're awake. My throat was dry. Where am I? Massachusetts General Hospital. You were brought in around 2:30 this morning. Hypothermia and acute asthma exacerbation. You're lucky. If Dr. Brennan hadn't found you when she did. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. What time is it? 6:15 a.m. Can I leave? The nurse looked at me, puzzled. We need to keep you for observation, at least until this afternoon. I don't have insurance. That's already been taken care of. What? The door opened. A woman walked in, late 50s, maybe early 60s, short gray hair, sharp eyes, white coat. You're awake. Good. The nurse nodded to her and left. The woman pulled a chair up next to my bed and sat down. I'm Dr. Catherine Brennan. I'm the director of emergency medicine here. I found you last night. Thank you, I whispered. What's your name? Enola. Enola Morrison. Enola. She said it slowly, like she was tasting it. That's a strong name. I didn't know what to say. She leaned forward. Enola, the nurse said you don't have insurance. Is that true? My parents have insurance, but I can't. I trailed off. Dr. Brennan waited. "I can't go home," I finally said. "Why not?" And I told her everything: the asthma, the costs, the resentment, Vivian, the money, the accusation, the door slamming shut. I told her about lying on the sidewalk, thinking I was going to die. When I finished, Dr. Brennan was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "How old are you?" "I turned 18 yesterday." "So you're an adult?" "Legally, yes." She nodded. "Then you don't need your parents' permission for treatment, and you don't need to go back to them." I stared at her. "What?" "Enola, I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to think carefully before you answer." I nodded. "If you could have any life at all, with no limits, no obstacles, no one telling you what you're worth, what would you choose?" No one had ever asked me that before. I thought about it, really thought about it. And then I said, "I'd be a doctor. I'd save kids who can't breathe, so they don't feel like they're expensive, like they're a burden." Dr. Brennan's eyes filled with tears. She reached out and took my hand. "Then that's what we'll do." I didn't understand. "What do you mean?" "I mean," she said, "you're going to stay with me, temporarily, until you get on your feet. I have a spare bedroom. You'll work part-time at the hospital. Administrative work, nothing that requires certification. To cover your expenses, you'll apply to college, and I'll write you a letter of recommendation." I couldn't speak. "Why?" I finally managed. "Why would you do that?" Dr. Brennan looked away. For a moment, she didn't say anything. Then, "I had a daughter once, Emily. She'd be 27 now." "What happened?" "Car accident, 8 years ago, February 12th. My breath caught. "Yesterday was her birthday?" Dr. Brennan nodded. "I was on my way home from a shift. I always stop by her grave on her birthday. I take the long route through Boylston. I don't know why. I just do." She looked at me. "And then I saw you, lying there in the snow. And I thought, maybe this is why. Maybe I was supposed to find you." I started crying. "I couldn't save Emily," Dr. Brennan said softly, "but maybe I can save you." At 7:30 a.m., Dr. Brennan made a phone call. She called her lawyer, asked about the legal rights of an 18-year-old with no home, asked about temporary guardianship, emancipation, housing. She took notes. She nodded. She said thank you and hung up. Then she turned to me. "Here's the plan. You'll stay with me for now. My apartment is on Beacon Hill, 2 bedrooms. I live alone. You'll have privacy. You'll work part-time at the hospital. I can get you a position in medical records, $12.50 an hour, 25 hours a week. That'll give you enough to start saving, and we'll get you enrolled at Boston University. You got a scholarship, right?" "Yes, $3,200. "Good. With financial aid, you should be able to cover the rest. I'll help with application fees, books, whatever you need." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Dr. Brennan, I don't know what to say." "Don't say anything yet, just rest. We'll go to my place this afternoon." At 8:15 a.m., Dr. Brennan left to finish her shift. A nurse brought me breakfast: eggs, toast, orange juice. I ate slowly, and I thought, this is real. This is actually happening. Someone believed me. Someone chose me. For the first time in 18 years, someone looked at me and said, "You're worth saving." At 2 p.m., Dr. Brennan came back. She had a bag with her, clothes, a winter coat, boots. "These were Emily's," she said quietly. "They've been in storage." I think they'll fit you. I put them on. They fit perfectly. We left the hospital together. Dr. Brennan drove me to her apartment, 234 Beacon Street, apartment 5C. It was small, clean, warm. There were bookshelves everywhere, medical textbooks, novels, photos. She showed me to the spare bedroom. It was small, a twin bed, a desk, a window overlooking the street. On the desk, there was a framed photo, a young woman, dark hair, bright smile. "That's Emily," Dr. Brennan said. "She's beautiful." She was. Dr. Brennan touched the frame gently. "She wanted to be a doctor, too." She turned to me. "Emily would have liked you." I started crying again. Dr. Brennan hugged me, and she said so quietly I almost didn't hear, "You're not expensive, Enola. You're priceless. And anyone who can't see that doesn't deserve you." That night, I lay in bed in that small room, wearing borrowed clothes, staring at the ceiling. And I made a promise. One day, I'd pay this forward. One day, I'd be the hand that reached out. But first, I had to survive. That day, I made a promise. One day, I'd pay this forward. One day, I'd be someone who saves people who can't breathe. But first, I had to build a life from nothing. The first month was the hardest. March 2015. I was living with Dr. Brennan, working 25 hours a week at Mass General in the Medical Records Department. $12.50 an hour. 25 hours. That's $312.50 a week before taxes. I saved every penny. I didn't go out, didn't buy coffee, didn't buy clothes. Dr. Brennan let me live with her rent-free, so every dollar I earned went into a savings account. By the end of March, I had $1,100 saved. On March 20th, I got an email. "Congratulations! You have been accepted to Boston University," I screamed. Dr. Brennan came running into my room. What's wrong?" I got in. I got into BU." She hugged me so hard I couldn't breathe. "I knew you would." I started Boston University in September 2015. Pre-med track, biology major. I commuted from Dr. Brennan's apartment. Took the T every morning at 6:45 a.m. Classes from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Work from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. I was exhausted all the time. But I didn't care. Because for the first time in my life, I was building something that was mine. My first semester GPA, 3.9. Dr. Brennan cried when she saw my transcript. I didn't contact my family. I changed my phone number in April 2015, deleted my Facebook, cut off everything. Dr. Brennan asked me once if I wanted to reach out. I said no. Some doors, once closed, should stay closed. But at night, I dreamed about them. I dreamed about my mother's face, the way she looked at me, like I was nothing. I dreamed about Vivian's smile, that cold, sharp smile, and I always woke up gasping, not from asthma, from rage. In my second year at BU, I started volunteering at Boston Children's Hospital. 200 hours that year. I worked in the pediatric emergency department. I saw kids come in who couldn't breathe. Kids with asthma, with pneumonia, with cystic fibrosis. I saw parents who were terrified, exhausted, broke. One night in November 2016, a mother brought in her 8-year-old son. He was wheezing so badly he could barely speak. The doctor asked, "Does he have an inhaler?" The mother shook her head. "We can't afford it. His prescription ran out 3 months ago. I've been trying to ration the old one, but—" She started crying. I stood there watching, and I thought, this is me. This could have been me, and I made a decision. That night, I went home and I told Dr. Brennan, I want to start a program, a nonprofit, to provide free asthma medication and education to kids who can't afford it. Dr. Brennan looked at me. That's a big goal. I know. It'll take years. I know, she smiled. Then let's get started. In 2017, during my junior year, I saw something that changed everything. I was scrolling through Instagram late one night. November 15th, 2:34 a.m. I couldn't sleep. A suggested account popped up. At Vivian Morrison, my sister. I hesitated. Then I clicked. Her profile was public. 12,000 followers. Photos of her at Boston College. Photos of her at parties. Photos of her in designer clothes. I scrolled down, and then I stopped. A photo from February 12th, 2015, my 18th birthday, the day I was kicked out. The photo showed Vivian standing in front of a Chanel store on Newbury Street. She was holding a shopping bag. The caption, finally saved enough for my dream bag. Chanel Classic Flap in Black. $3,400. Mom said I deserve it after working so hard. I stared at that number. $3,400. She bought a bag with my future. I took a screenshot. I sat there for an hour, staring at it. $3,400. February 12th, 2015. The same day I was kicked out. The same amount she claimed I stole. She lied. She planned it. She took the money herself, accused me, and bought a fucking designer bag while I was freezing to death in the snow. I wanted to scream. I wanted to send the screenshot to my mother, to my father, to everyone. But I didn't. Because Dr. Brennan had told me something once. She said, revenge keeps you stuck. Let her go. Build something so big she'll be irrelevant. So I saved the screenshot. Not to use it, but to remember. I am not her. I will never be her. I graduated from Boston University in May 2019. Summa cum laude, 3.95 GPA. Dr. Brennan sat in the front row crying. I walked across that stage and I thought, this is mine, not theirs. Mine. In July 2019, I got another email. Dear Ms. Morrison, it is our pleasure to offer you admission to Harvard Medical School. Full scholarship, $320,000 over 4 years. I called Dr. Brennan. She answered on the first ring. I got in. Silence. Then, I knew you would. This is because of you. No, Enola, this is because of you. I started Harvard Medical School in August 2019, and in March 2020, in the middle of a pandemic, Dr. Brennan and I officially founded Second Breath Initiative, a nonprofit organization providing free asthma medication, nebulizers, and education to children from low-income families. Our mission? No child should feel expensive for breathing. We started with $85,000 in donations. In our first month, we helped 50 kids. By the end of 2020, 400 kids. By 2022, 1,200 kids. And I kept counting. Because every single number was a kid who wouldn't feel like I did. By 2024, I was in my second year of residency at Massachusetts General Hospital, emergency medicine. The same hospital where Dr. Brennan found me 10 years earlier. The same emergency room where I almost died. Now I was the one saving lives. And Second Breath had grown. From 1 city to 3 states. From 1,200 kids to 1,850. 1,850. That number wasn't random. I did the math. February 12th, 2015 to March 3rd, 2020. 1,850 days. The number of days between the night I was thrown out and the night I started second breath. Every kid we saved was a day I survived. In December 2024, I got an email. Subject: Massachusetts Medical Excellence Awards. Nomination. Dear Dr. Morrison, you have been nominated for the Physician of the Year Under 30 Award by the Massachusetts Medical Society. The ceremony was scheduled for February 12th, 2025. 10 years to the day. I stared at the email for a long time. Then I scrolled down to the attached guest list. VIP section, row 3. Patricia Morrison, MSN, RN, Healthcare Network Representative. Michael Morrison, guest. Vivian Morrison, Event Coordinator, Elite Events Boston. They were going to be there, all 3 of them, and they had no idea I would be too. Dr. Brennan found me sitting at my kitchen table, staring at my laptop. What's wrong? I showed her the email. She read it. Then she looked at me. Are you going to accept? They'll be there. I know. They'll see me. I know. I don't know if I'm ready. Dr. Brennan sat down next to me. She took my hand. Enola, do you want to hide or do you want to rise? I accepted the award. And I wrote a speech. I rehearsed it 14 times. Dr. Brennan sat in my living room, listening, correcting, encouraging. The speech was 8 minutes and 30 seconds long. I didn't mention my family by name, but I told my story, and I put that number, 1850, right in the center. On February 11th, 2025, the night before the ceremony, Dr. Brennan asked me, "Are you ready to see them?" I thought about it and I said, I've been ready for 10 years. The question is, are they ready to see me? The number 1850 wasn't random. It was deliberate. It was the exact number of days between the night they threw me out and the night I finally found my breath again. Every child we saved was a day I survived, and I was ready to tell them. February 12th, 2025, 6 p.m., Boston Convention Center, Grand Ballroom. I arrived with Dr. Brennan. The ballroom was massive. Crystal chandeliers, 150 round tables, a stage with a massive LED screen behind it, 1,200 people, doctors, nurses, hospital administrators, politicians, donors. I was wearing a black dress and my white coat. My stethoscope hung around my neck. My name embroidered on the pocket, Dr. E. Morrison. Dr. Brennan squeezed my hand. You've got this. We walked to our seats. Row 1, VIP section, reserved for award nominees. As we walked past row 3, I saw her. My mother. She was wearing a navy blue dress. Her hair was shorter than I remembered, grayer. She was talking to someone, smiling, laughing. She didn't see me. I kept walking. 2 seats down from my mother, my father. He looked older, tired. He was staring at his phone, not engaging with anyone. And then, near the stage, coordinating with staff, clipboard in hand, Vivian. She was beautiful. Long dark hair, perfectly styled, a sleek black dress, designer heels. She was directing someone, pointing, professional. She looked right at me as I walked past. Her eyes passed over me. No recognition. To her, I was just another doctor in a white coat. I sat down in row 1, 5 seats from the stage. Dr. Brennan sat next to me. Did they see you? No. Good. Let them be surprised. The ceremony started at 6:30 p.m. 5 awards before mine. Lifetime Achievement, Outstanding Nurse Practitioner, Excellence in Hospital Administration. I counted each breath. In, out, in, out. At 7:45 p.m., the host, a woman in her 50s, elegant, poised, stepped up to the microphone. "Our next award," she said, "honors a physician under the age of 30 who has demonstrated exceptional impact in their community. This year's recipient has not only excelled in emergency medicine, but has also founded a nonprofit organization that has changed the lives of nearly 2,000 children." The screen behind her lit up. A video began to play. Footage of me working in the ER, helping a child with an asthma attack. Smiling, reassuring, footage of second breath clinics, kids learning how to use inhalers, parents crying with relief. A mother's voice narrating, "Before Dr. Morrison, my son missed 40 days of school a year because of asthma. Now, he hasn't missed one." Another parent, "She gave us his medication for free. She said no child should feel expensive. She saved his life." The video ended. The host spoke again. "Please join me in welcoming this year's Physician of the Year under 30, Dr. Enola Morrison." The room erupted in applause. I stood up. Dr. Brennan stood too. She was crying. I walked toward the stage, 12 steps. I passed row 3. I heard it. A sharp inhale. My mother's voice. "Oh my God!" I didn't look. I kept walking. I heard Vivian's voice behind me, strangled. "No, no, no, no." I stepped onto the stage. The applause was deafening. 60% of the room was on their feet. I reached the podium. The host handed me a crystal trophy. "Congratulations, Dr. Morrison." "Thank you." She stepped aside. I stood at the microphone. 1,200 people looking at me. My mother in row 3, her face white, her hand over her mouth. My father next to her, staring, frozen. Vivian near the side of the stage, her clipboard on the floor, her hands shaking. I took a breath, and I began. "Thank you. 10 years ago tonight, I turned 18. It was snowing in Boston. The temperature was 6 degrees Fahrenheit, and I was thrown out of my home." The room went silent. I had asthma. I'd had it since I was 6, and for 18 years I was told I was expensive, that I was a burden, that every inhaler, every hospital visit was too much. On my 18th birthday, I was accused of something I didn't do, and my family believed the lie, without question. I paused. I could hear my mother's breathing, quick, shallow, panicked. I walked out into the snow with 11% battery on my phone, 1 inhaler, and no plan. I collapsed on Boylston Street at 1:45 a.m. My body temperature dropped to 94 degrees, and I thought I was going to die. I let that sit. But I didn't die, because at 2:17 a.m., a doctor found me. I turned to Dr. Brennan. She stood. The room erupted in applause. 15 seconds. She was crying. I waited for the applause to fade. "Doctor, Catherine Brennan didn't know me. She had just finished a 12-hour shift. She was on her way home, but she stopped. She saved my life. And then she asked me a question. 'If you could have any life, what would you choose?' I said, 'I'd save people who can't breathe, like me.'" My voice cracked. Dr. Brennan gave me a home. She gave me a chance. She gave me permission to dream. And she taught me that family isn't who you're born to. It's who saves you when you can't save yourself. I took another breath. In 2020, I co-founded Second Breath Initiative. Our mission is simple. No child should feel expensive for breathing. The screen behind me changed. The number 1,850 appeared. Huge, bold. "As of today," I said, "we've served 1,850 children." The screen shifted to a collage of photos. 1,850 faces, kids smiling, holding inhalers, with their families. The room was silent. That number isn't random. 1,850 is the exact number of days between the night I was thrown out and the night I found my breath again. Every child we helped is a day I survived, and every single one of them was told they matter. I saw Vivian in my peripheral vision. She had stood up. Her hands were over her mouth. Her whole body was shaking. I kept going. To anyone who has ever been called too much, too expensive, too broken, you are not the problem. You were never the problem. I paused. And to the families who couldn't see our worth, I let the silence stretch. We didn't need you to believe in us. We just needed one person who did, and that was enough. The room exploded. Standing ovation. 95% of the audience on their feet. I stepped back from the microphone. 45 seconds of applause. I looked at Dr. Brennan. She was sobbing, smiling, clapping. I stepped off the stage. I walked down the aisle, slowly, deliberately. As I passed row 3, I stopped. I turned, and I looked at them. My mother was crying. Her hands were shaking. Her mouth was open, but no sound came out. My father was staring at me. His face was gray, ashamed. And Vivian. Vivian was standing there, frozen, her face white, her eyes red. She whispered, "Enola, I... I'm so..." I didn't stop. I didn't respond. I just looked at her. For 2 seconds. Then I smiled. Not a cruel smile, not a triumphant smile, just a smile, and I walked away. I didn't owe them words. I didn't owe them forgiveness. I owed them nothing, and that was the most powerful thing I could give. I didn't look at her. I didn't need to. The truth was louder than anything I could say, and as I walked out of that ballroom, I heard my mother call my name. I didn't turn around, because that chapter ended 10 years ago, and I had already written a new one. Within 48 hours, my speech went viral. 2.3 million views on TikTok, shared on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. News outlets picked it up. Boston Globe, NBC Boston, CNN Health. The headlines: Doctor reveals she was kicked out at 18, now saves 1,850 kids. Physician of the Year was once left to die in the snow by her own family. This doctor's speech will make you cry. Donations to Second Breath Initiative poured in, $180,000 in 1 week. I didn't read the comments, but Dr. Brennan did. She read a few to me. I was called expensive too. Thank you for showing me I'm not alone. This doctor is a hero. Where can I donate? I haven't cried this hard in years. Thank you for sharing your story. I sat on my couch listening, and I felt light. For the first time in 10 years, I felt light. The emails started coming on February 14th. My mother sent 8 emails in 3 days. Subject lines: please read, I'm sorry, let me explain, your father wants to talk. I didn't open any of them. Vivian sent 47 DMs on Instagram. She called 12 times, left voicemails. She sent a letter to the hospital, 3 pages, handwritten. I read it once. Enola, I know you probably hate me. You should. I took the money for a bag. A fucking bag. I was jealous of you. You were always smarter, kinder. Mom loved you more and I couldn't stand it. I'm so sorry. Please, can we talk? I folded the letter. I put it in a file cabinet labeled Closed Chapters, and I moved on. On February 16th, I sent 1 email. One line. To all three of them. I've moved on. I hope you can too. Please don't contact me again. I sent it from my lawyer's email address. Then I blocked their phone numbers, blocked their emails, blocked their social media accounts. Dr. Brennan asked me, "How do you feel?" "Light," I said. "For the first time in 10 years, I feel light." On February 20th, I made one more decision. I donated $3,200 to a new scholarship I created through Second Breath Initiative. The scholarship was called "For Those Who Were Told They Were Burdens." It would go to one pre-med or medical student each year who lived with a chronic illness. In the announcement, I wrote, "This scholarship is for anyone who was told they cost too much to love. You don't. You never did." A year later, in March 2026, I heard through a mutual acquaintance that Vivian had lost her job. The company didn't want someone with that story. I didn't celebrate. I didn't feel vindicated. I just existed, and that was enough. On February 12th, 2026, exactly 11 years after the night I was thrown out, I stood outside the 9th Second Breath Initiative Clinic. This one was in Providence, Rhode Island. It was snowing, lightly, just a few flakes. The temperature was 15 degrees. I was holding a cup of hot chocolate, wearing a warm coat, standing in front of a glowing sign. Second Breath Initiative, because breathing is a right. A little girl, maybe 7 years old, ran out of the clinic. She saw me and smiled. "Dr. Morrison, thank you. I can play soccer now." She hugged my legs. I knelt down and hugged her back. Dr. Brennan walked up behind me. She put her hand on my shoulder. "You did it." I looked at her. "No, we did it." That night, I sat in my apartment and thought about everything. I thought about that night 10 years ago, lying in the snow, thinking I was going to die. I thought about my mother's face, Vivian's smile, and I realized I never wanted revenge. Revenge keeps you small, keeps you stuck in their story. I wanted something bigger. I wanted proof that love isn't in blood. It's in who saves you when you can't breathe. And I wanted every kid who felt expensive to know, you're not. You never were. You're priceless.